Hi everyone, it's Amber from The Sensible Mama. I'm going to be dual uploading this on YouTube as well as on my podcast. So wherever you're watching or listening this from, thanks for being here. I'm excited to do this one because this is my first kind of foray back into doing sit down and chit chat style videos. It's been a long time since I've done them. And I've had a lot on my heart that I want to talk about. I've been using my TikTok account as the place where I do more of the person-to-person conversations that I think we need to be having as women and as moms and as people who have mental health issues to take care of. And I like it because it's short form. I'm able to get a snappy message across really quickly, and it seems to reach a lot of people. And that makes me really happy. That's the point. I want to reach as many people as possible. But I also know that a lot of my followers enjoy longer form content and having more of a conversation and getting to just take it easy, get some water or a cup of coffee and just kind of chit chat about it. And this is a topic that has been on my heart for a while now. So I figured today we'd sit down and talk about it. Recently, I guess a few days ago, I put up a video on TikTok about motherhood burnout. I will play it for you right here. This message is for the moms, and it's going to be loud in here because I'm home with my children. So the other day, Domestic Blisters, if you don't follow her already, she's tagged right here. Go give her a follow. Put out a video saying that burnout can take years to overcome. And this really touched me because I'm someone who would consider myself recovering from burnout. My kids are 2 years apart. They're 3 and 5. And for the first many years of their lives, I had quit my corporate job, started my own business, and was providing pretty much all of the care for them by myself while trying to run my business. They're stressing me out here. The noise level, the sensory overload of being touched constantly, the overwhelming mental load of having to constantly hear those noises in the background, never having a thought that you could occupy in your own brain without it being interrupted and infiltrated. What is that?
Medicine.
Medicine, okay. It was a lot. And so when I finally got a chance to move my business out of my house, purchase my warehouse and my office space, I said I will never be back here in this situation again. But today, the kids are out of school. There's no one to care for them today, so I'm at home with them all day, and they've been up since 5 a.m. Can you please stop, baby? I love you so much. Please, I don't want that on me. I am already, it's 9:30. I am at the end of my rope, and I love my kids desperately. We've made plans for later today to get out of the house and to just have fun together and enjoy life and enjoy the blessing of a day to be together as we should enjoy it. But I need you guys to know that I am already at 9:30 in the morning finding myself looking for ways to distance from them, to busy myself, to just not have to be occupied in their world because this. It doesn't mean we don't love our kids when we're completely burnt out. It just means sometimes it takes a long time to get over it. And even when we've had time and space away from that life, like Domestic Blisters said, it just may take a little time to reset. And I'm gonna ask you before you conclude this video and come comment to have some empathy, please. All the stages of motherhood are hard. There are single moms, there are working moms, there are work from home moms. We're all struggle busting it sometimes. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck sometimes. So I'm not going to tolerate any mom shaming or who's got it harder nonsense in my comments. Love you guys. That video went sort of viral on TikTok. It got a couple 100,000 views, and the comment section of that video was absolutely filled with women who are also experiencing burnout. They are just overwhelmed and touched out and exhausted. And I think what I saw more in the comments of that video, it was less about people being exhausted from the work, the labor, the touching even. People were exhausted from the mental energy of constantly having your children's voices and or just general thoughts of well-being inside of your own head. So for me, like one of the things I mentioned in that video is that I have a really hard time because as a working parent, a business owner, I am all the time having different thoughts that I need to be ruminating on inside of my head. And I try my best to shove those out of my mind while I'm with my kids and be present with them. But sometimes there's just like, there's something that's eating at me and I really need to think about it and I can't get my mind off of these intrusive thoughts. And then I've got my children constantly speaking to me and interrupting and yelling and crying and hitting each other and all of these things. And for me, that's what burns me out the fastest, is not feeling like I ever have an opportunity to just think my own thoughts. Because even when they're asleep and I'm having time to myself, often by that point, I'm so physically exhausted and burnt out, I end up falling asleep pretty quickly anyway. But also, I'm also thinking about their own lives, things I have to do to get ready for them for school tomorrow, getting their clothes clean for school the next day. Or maybe I'm thinking about Roman having a bad day at school and how I want to address it. And it still ends up not giving me a chance to think about the things that I need to think about for my own well-being. And that message really resonated with people. It's astonishing how burnt out you can become. And I don't feel like enough of us are talking about this. And I have reasons for believing that why most of us are not talking about this, which I'll get to in a minute. But I want to first, before I get into anything else, I just want to affirm for everybody that burnout is real. And even if you're like me, you have older kids, my kids are 3 and 5 now, sometimes you still are experiencing burnout from the newborn phase, from the breastfeeding, or if you are doing formula, getting up, making multiple bottles per night, dealing with packing everything you have to take out of the house with you, and then getting there and having your children have a temper tantrum and packing it all up and going back home because you just can't deal. The postpartum depression, the just overwhelming stress of learning how to be a new mom and take care of a baby when maybe you've never had experience doing that before. All of that, you survived all that. And now here you are with older kids who are learning to be more independent, who don't really need you as much anymore. And you find yourself still burnt out. And if you're not sure, like what I mean by burnout, when you're out of that needy phase and you're into an older kids phase, the best way I can put it is like this. My kids don't all that often wake up in the middle of the night anymore, but when they were younger, they were up 8 or 9 times per night each. And I was getting up with both of them, and they were never up at the same time, so I was almost never sleeping. It was just constantly getting up with these kids. And both of my kids wake up like someone just like tossed them out of the bed. They wake up absolutely screaming. They did it when they were babies. They do it to this day. It's a mess. So I was always very overwhelmed with their sleeping situation when they were a little bit younger. Now that they're older, they don't wake up all that often in the middle of the night. But when it happens, I respond exactly the way I used to when they were getting me up 8 and 9 times per night. I wake up in a panic. I wake up angry immediately. And I don't show them that. I try not to, but I wake up overwhelmed, my heart racing, feeling exhausted, feeling resentful that they're awake, feeling mad that I'm not able to get my sleep. And I have to stop and remind myself, like, this is not a major inconvenience. I already got 4 straight hours of sleep and I have another 4 more coming. This is just, they wanted some water or they needed me to straighten out their sheets for them or something. Like, I'm going to fix it and I'm going to go right back to sleep. But like I said, I still respond like I did when they were younger and I was so exhausted. And that's what I mean by burnout taking a long time to get over. When you're still responding to situations that aren't really a big deal anymore, but because they used to be, you're still deeply triggered by them. And this was something that, like, I just want to share with you. If you're a mom who has older kids and you're still finding yourself being very easily frustrated and impatient with them, even though the things that they need from you aren't unreasonable, let yourself off the hook. Like, I know for me, I spend a lot of time beating myself up for being a bad mom, thinking like, maybe I made a mistake having kids. Maybe I am not cut out for this. Maybe I just don't have the patience and the kindness and the understanding in order to just deal with what real mom life is like. I don't know. I'm realizing now, though, as I'm seeing myself starting to get back to my normal emotional state, I'm finding myself being less reactive than I was even just a few months ago. I find myself starting to be more patient with them again. I'm realizing that those threads of burnout they're starting to come out of me. And I see the burnout pop up every now and then. I see my frustration with my kids, and I recognize it now, and I say, that's burnout. I recognize these situations over here where I'm handling things very well. This particular reaction I'm having is due to burnout, and I'm going to give myself grace for that. And so the first thing before I get into any other element of this video that I want to say to you is that it is okay. It's okay that you're still not over in a lot of ways, the trauma of being a new mom. Again, we all love being moms. I don't intend at all to make it sound like motherhood isn't beautiful and miraculous and wonderful. But when you really look at the process of carrying a baby for 9 months, giving a violent birth, that's the only way I know how to describe birth. It's, in some ways, birthing is just a violent act on its own. It's beautiful, it's magnificent, it's special, but it's a traumatic thing too that is happening to your body. And then you look at what you're thrown into next with being a brand new mom. There is some trauma involved there, and it is okay if you're having a hard time getting back to who you are and who you used to be. You're still a good mom. And as time goes by, you're going to let go of more and more of that burnout and just get back to being a patient, compassionate mom all the time. You're not, well, not all the time, more of the time. So that's point number one that I want to raise in this video, is just being aware of how long it can take to get on with your burnout, to move past it. But the second thing that I want to talk about is just the amount of mom shaming that I received on that video. I was really actively deleting mom shaming comments on that video because I'd said at the end of it, I'm not going to let you mom shame me or anyone else. I can take it, right? I put myself out here publicly. I made a decision to put myself before you and accept criticism if you send it my way. That's fine. Your opinion doesn't mean that much to me anymore. It used to, but not anymore. But there are women who are going to be finding this video who are burnt out and beating themselves up and feeling guilty and feeling ashamed. And I will not let them read these comments that you're directing at me and internalize it themselves. I'm just not going to let you do it. So I had deleted quite a few like mom shaming comments of people shaming me for not appreciating my children, shaming me for talking about it in front of them, shaming me for just not, live, laugh, loving it up with my kids. And I expected it. I knew it was going to come. There's always going to be people who are going to shame you when you talk about not loving every single moment of motherhood. What I wasn't prepared for was that video was pulled down by TikTok. It was removed for child endangerment and minor harm. So not only was the video pulled down off of TikTok, but I was put on a 24-hour post ban, meaning I could not post anything on TikTok as a slap on the wrist for having this violation. And I got a pretty mean message it's an auto-generated message, but one that made me feel really bad, talking about how inappropriate it is to put children in danger and all of this stuff. So I appealed it, and within hours I won the appeal. My video was restored and my post ban was lifted. But I couldn't believe that because I wasn't allowing women to mom shame me and other moms publicly in the comments, some people were so in need of feeling that vindication, that validation of what good moms they are, that they had to go report the video to try to get me in trouble for not being a perfect mom. I have news for them. I know I'm not a perfect mom. I cry in the bathtub more times than I'd like to admit, or driving in my car, or wherever I may be, thinking about the ways in which I am not a perfect mom. Regretting the way that I handled things, wishing that I had a little bit more patience, a little bit more understanding with my kids, asking God why He didn't give me the innate motherly instinct that so many women seem to have. You don't need to let me know that I'm not a perfect mom. I know it myself. And I think that these women know that. Like, I'm a pretty transparent person. You could see from my video that I was at my wit's end, that I wasn't super proud of how I was feeling, but I took a moment, a real moment from my lived life, and I shared it with people because I thought they needed to see it. They needed to see this happening in action. So I'm pretty sure these people who mom shamed me in the comments and who reported my video, I'm pretty sure they knew that it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It was for them. It was for them to feel superior. It was for them to feel like better moms than me or anyone else. It was for them to grandstand and show what good, wonderful moms they are. And the more I thought about it, I got really angry at first. The more I thought about it, the more I realized, like, you know, people who believe that they're great at things, they don't go around putting down other people. You don't see really successful, gifted artists bashing artists who are just getting started, whose art isn't as good as theirs. You don't see really successful book authors bashing and beating down on other authors who are just getting started and who aren't as well published as they are. You may see them give helpful critiques, but you don't see them bullying and beating up on these people or trying to silence them or bring them down, because they understand how hard it is to be good at something. They understand the process. They understand the self-doubt and the insecurities and everything that goes along with trying to be good at something. And so they don't tend to beat up on other people who are trying to do what they're doing. It made me realize that anytime anybody knows they're good at something, they don't resort to this behavior of shaming other people who are like them. It tends to be only the people who are insecure, who have something to prove to themselves about their own worth as an artist or as an author or as a mom, who go around doing this stuff. And the more I reflected on it, I realized, you know what? These women, these mom-shaming women, are probably the product of their own environment. They are probably people who have someone in their lives, whether it's their spouse or their mother-in-law or nasty friends who also like to mom shame. They're hearing this message from someone else in their lives. They're being told constantly that they don't measure up. And so they tell themselves, like, oh, if I could just do more activities with the kids, if I could just keep the house cleaner, if I could just cook more meals per week, if I just was a better wife, or if I was more active in the kids' schools, maybe I would win these people's approval. And they put themselves in a prison of trying to prove their worth to everyone. And when they see someone like me, and like a lot of us moms, giving ourselves grace, accepting that we're not perfect and trying hard to be the best we can, but also forgiving ourselves and being honest about it, just being honest about what we're going through with ourselves and with others and even with our children, it's offensive to them because they're not being able to live in that freedom. You know, one of the things that I got mom shamed for was that I was speaking about my burnout in front of my kids. Now, I could understand if someone was giving me zero benefit of the doubt, like, and only hearing what I was saying, I could see how someone would say, like, this is harmful to your children to hear this. But from my perspective, I know you can watch the video and see that, one, my children were completely unfazed, not listening whatsoever to what I was saying. Two, my kids were still there, touching me, holding my hand, getting hugs for me. I was making their lunch for them during all of this, doing all of these things to actively show these kids that they are loved. So I don't know how some people missed that in this video. But furthermore, I have very honest and frank conversations with even my little kids about my burnout. I express this to them because there's no way that I can experience burnout without them experiencing it also. They understand when I'm burnt out, when I'm frustrated, they can see it. And so I have to sit down with them and I have to explain, Mommy's very tired. It's not your fault. Mommy is just touched out. Mommy is overwhelmed. Mommy's sad. It's not you. But sometimes when you're touching me too much, sometimes when you're shouting in my ear or when you're fighting with each other, these are things that get me to my breaking point. Could you help Mommy out with that? And in turn, my children are allowed to speak to me about the things that I'm doing that annoy and bother them. And it may not work like that for everyone's household. With my kids, this is how we do it. We're very honest with each other about that. And it's working well for us. Maybe it doesn't work well for everyone else. But I do think that the kind of people who would see the context of that video see how healthy and loved my children are, I don't think they would really find any reason to mom shame unless it was because of what I just described. Because they themselves are also being mom shamed, and this is the only way that they reclaim any sense of like control or dignity or whatever it may be. I still have a lot of impatience with mom shamers because I just think why? Like, is this necessary? And I want to say really quickly, there is a really big difference between like letting a mom know that her kids are not properly strapped in their car seats and mom shaming. Now, informing moms that they have their kids strapped in their car seats wrong can turn into mom shaming depending on how you deliver that message. But I want to make it really clear that like instructing other moms, giving helpful advice, telling them how they're not necessarily doing things in a way that is right or safe is not mom shaming. I'm talking about people who just find every little excuse to nitpick other moms and bring them down so that they can feel better about themselves. So I'm definitely not saying that I am like all about just giving all the grace and compassion to mom shamers, but I want to be better about seeing moms who mom shame. You know what I mean? Seeing them and being like, I think I know why you're doing this to me. And validating those moms by letting them know, hey, you are a good mom. You don't want to give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm a good mom, but I'm going to give it to you. I know you're a good mom. We're all out here doing our best. You're a good mom. You watching and listening, you're a good mom. I'm a good mom. The people who mom shame you, they're good moms too, even though you don't want to believe it. We need to spend more time caring for ourselves and caring for each other. We need to spend less time neglecting ourselves and dehumanizing and disrespecting others. That feels like a great place to end it. Thank you for listening to my rant. I don't know what this is. I'm riffing. I enjoyed talking about this with you. I hope that it meant something to you. I hope there was something in here for you. Let me know in the comments. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Love ya. Mean it always. Mwah. And I'll see you in the next one.